Yavapai Broadcasting and the City of Cottonwood proudly present Inside Cottonwood, an inside look at the decisions and issues of the City of Cottonwood. Brought to you by Arizona Smile Designers.
Hello, I'm Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood, and I'd like to welcome you today to Inside Cottonwood. And we're about midway through the summertime, and we're seeing all kinds of things and events, especially happening around our community. And we're going to be discussing today a little bit more information as to our upcoming farmers market in Cottonwood, and some information there that you might find interesting as well as valuable as you search for things to do this summer in Cottonwood or the Verde Valley. And it's really kind of nice to have the farmers market here in Cottonwood. We've been running it for some time, and it seems like every year I always get the same questions: is when does the farmers market start, and how long does it last, and things of that nature. So I'm fortunate to have two individuals here today. One being Hez Allen, our Recreation Services Supervisor for the City of Cottonwood, and as well as Christy Mulcair of Pierre's Prime Beef from Rimrock area. So thank you both for joining us this morning. It's my pleasure to have you on Inside Cottonwood, and we'll just start things out today and just basically talk a little bit, Hez, as to the farmers market, and then we can ask Christy a little bit maybe after our break time, you know, about the aspect of having beef coming into our farmers market, because this is a first for us. And so if we can, why don't you tell us how long the farmers market has been around in Cottonwood now, and as a venue for our Parks and Recreation Department?
Well, I think, Richard, you remember the market was in place before I was even here, prior 7-8 years ago, and it was held in the parking lot next to the tavern.
That's right.
And then the concert series and the market was two separate things. The market took place on Thursday. The concert series took place on Friday. And then when we took over the market, the thought was, Ron Hollis had a great idea to combine the market and the concert series. We took it and ran with it, and here we are. So I would say at least 20 years, 15 years.
It's been really close to that. I think we actually started implementing the farmers market by close to 1997. And it was one of those where we thought, well, we'll do an experiment and see what transpires and happens. And it was really quite an event as it started, because again, it was right alongside the roadway, and people, as they passed, it was really a nice venue and location next to the old, well, it was the old movie theater at the time period. And in fact, before the movie theater even burned down, it was one of those things. And so it was really a nice location, and we've now shifted. And so where are we at now? Where are we located?
We're at the Old Town Activity Park.
Okay.
The thought was, let's get them off the hot blacktop and onto some grass, which is a luxury in Arizona.
All right. So what we did, we combined then basically the bands, and we called it now the Farmers Market and Jamboree.
Yep.
So what's a jamboree?
It's kind of, you know, it's a festivity, it's a community family program. Every Thursday, people come out, they come to the market, enjoy a little time with their family. They put a blanket out on the grass, listen to some music. Our thought is with the music is that it keeps them there longer to do more shopping. So if they sit down and go, you know what, I need to stop by Pierre's and grab some beef today.
Well, and you have on your screen right now the circumstances surrounding our flyer that comes out each year. We change our flyer up, but this one's a good one, and it pretty much tells you a little bit more information about the farmers market, and we actually we can't wait till we start. It's just kind of one of those things that's really fun. Now, as it pertains to the startup of the market, tell us the times and the dates ahead as to the summer, the fall time, where and you know, I think why was it that we decided for Thursdays? What was the aspect of that too?
That's a great question, and we get that all the time. Why did you pick Thursday? It makes no sense to us. Well, believe it or not, there is actually some logic that went into that choice. The market starts on July 11th and continues each Thursday until October 3rd. We have it on Thursday because all the markets in northern Arizona have chosen a day. And a lot of these vendors will travel around to these different markets. Our day has historically always been Thursday. If If you go to Flagstaff, their day is, I believe, Saturday. Camp Birdies is also Saturday morning, and then Prescott is Friday. So we try to divvy it up a little bit so the vendors have a chance to go to all the markets, because kind of this is their mainstay for income source based on their products for the fall, summer season.
It's interesting. So now the markets within Arizona, it seems like a lot of the northern area here, even though it's hot, we get a lot of people. And I mean, they can't wait but one of the nice things about it is a lot of times we have monsoonal activity. And so the clouds will come in, and many of the nights I just know it's cooler. There is a little bit more as it pertains to the humidity and the dew point activity, but a lot of the nights are nice, I should say the evening time periods. And so as we look at this, it's one of those wonderful things to do in the evening with your family, is to come down, listen to the music, and then also partake of, there's everything. I mean, it's just amazing. Can you give us an idea of some of the, I guess the items that are being sold there, kind of bring us up to speed with that.
Yeah, along the lines of the atmosphere, there's nothing better than biting into a fresh apple, listening to some music on a cool Thursday evening, and kids and your family just running around and having a blast. I think that's the epitome to a family program, is that right there. There's no cost to get into it. Your apple will cost you maybe 25 to 50 cents, and it's homegrown by somebody down the street from you.
Right.
And I just think that's amazing. And so you have apples, you have tomatoes are another hot item that people truly enjoy having. There's, a fresh BLT on Saturday morning with the tomatoes you got on Thursday is fantastic. So there's a wide variety of produce. With that, it's always a challenge to get produce to the market, but when it's there, it goes really fast.
That's what I understand, is that it sells very fast. So if you're planning on being at the farmer's market, the best thing to do is try to get there right about the time, or just a little bit before the opening time period, in order to be able to buy it, because there's vegetables and they're fresh.
Yep.
And so it's really kind of neat. Now the fruits come out a little bit later, and I think that's one of the things, but try to get there a little bit early. Now, excuse me, as it pertains to entertainment and this year's market, it seems to me that there's quite a lineup of bands that you've got, and they're really pretty heavy duty bands. And so can you tell us who they are, and who do you identify as probably the some of the ones that stand out the most to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, Christy, what bands do you remember from last year? Little impromptu experiment.
Yeah, no, I remember Jed Morrison came and played.
Yeah.
I remember Cadillac Angels, I believe, were there. Each week it was a great atmosphere, like you said, for the kids and the family to come out and people to bring their blankets. But each week was a great band. So those are some of the ones I remember.
So with those favorites that we get every year, Cadillac Angels, Jed Morrison, we don't have Jed this year, but for example, we have Cadillac Angels, but we also add new ones. Jared in the Mill, Back Porch Pickers, because we try to have a variety, and bluegrass is kind of a newer thing these days, along with indie folk rock type music. So we've added some of that stuff, and I think people really get a kick out of it. But it still creates that atmosphere. Obviously we're not going to throw hard rock up there and metal and listen to all the old farmers go, "What did you do to
me?" That's good. So as we look at the lineup, how are we able to afford that? What do we do, or what's the instrument with which we try to obtain more bands?
Well, Jack and myself, the new special events sports coordinator, we're really good at peddling, so we'll beat the streets and beg and plead. We have a sob story. Jack's an orphan. I'm kidding.
We treat him as such at times, yeah.
But, I think especially the vendors in Old Town and the merchants have really identified with the market. They understand it's a tangible necessity that they have this. Maybe they don't see a lot of residual down through Old Town. We're working on that. But having a band on each evening makes a whole lot of difference. Christy will tell you the nights that we don't have acts, close up shop because people aren't coming out.
Right.
And so we try to get quality bands that'll come out and bring the individuals out, and then push them down to Old Town to our sponsors like the Cooperage, Arizona Stronghold, Burning Tree Cellars, Chocolate Blonde Salon, Orion Bread Company, The Grind Coffee Shop, Red Rooster Cafe, Rendezvous in Old Town, and of course the Old Town Association. So on all our posters and everything, you'll see a tagline that says, please visit our great sponsors in Old Town after the market or during the market.
That's good news. Now, and what is it that I guess the investment of the program for sponsors, what do they get out of this? Or
for their sponsorship of $350 to $500, what we do is there's 39 radio commercials. We do, I think, roughly 4 a day on the market day each Thursday for 13 weeks. And that sponsor it'll be titled as today's Christopher Rodman brought to you by such and such. And then at the end of the commercial, we'll list all the additional sponsors. Plus, they have banners on site. They have a banner that's going to go across the street listing our sponsors. And they all have the tagline of, while at the market, visit our great sponsors in historic Old Town to try to drive traffic to there. We're also working on getting some kudos covers for the market.
That's awesome. And so there's good investment back for people who are interested in investing in homegrown, farmers market vegetables and beef and things of that nature here, and getting people out within the summertime. We're gonna take a break now for Inside Cottonwood. Thank you for joining us this day, and I'm Richard Faust, your host for Inside Cottonwood. We'll be back in just a moment. Well, welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host today. My name is Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood. And with me today are both Hez Allen, the Recreation Services Supervisor for the City of Cottonwood, and we have Christy Mulcair here with us this morning. And we'd like to welcome you. And tell us a little bit, if you will. This is the second year that Pierre's Prime Beef has been at the Farmers Market. And tell us a little bit about Pierre's and what is it that where you're located, and if you have a phone number, tell us a phone number and things of that nature to where people can possibly get hold of you here in the Verde Valley area.
Certainly. My husband and I started raising, or we've always raised cattle. He grew up on a cattle ranch in Camp Verde, and we grew up raising 4-H animals and showing. And a couple years ago, when the economy kind of took a turn for the worse, we both decided that we needed to do something a little bit different to support the family. And through doing that, we decided, well, why don't we turn our hobby of raising cattle into an actual business? And through the years, we've always raised our own beef and butchered our own beef. And, we've had family members and friends approach us that we've in turn raised beef for them. And we both kind of got to thinking that this might be something else that the rest of the public and community would like to have. And so in doing that, last summer we tried 5 markets out a week. We went to Sedona and Cottonwood and several other markets, Prescott Valley, and found out that it was viable enough that the public really responded to us well. And we're fortunate to have good beef, that they knew where the beef was coming from and the way we raise it. We raise it on a ranch. It's actually my grandfather's ranch in Camp Verde. And so in the process, we either use his calves or we buy our own and raise our own. And we don't use any antibiotics, no growth hormones or preservatives in our feed, so it's as natural beef that you're going to get. It's brought back to our home in Rimrock, and that's where we finish it out on grass hay as well as a little bit of grain, so they get some corn, oats, and barley, and that helps with the marbling and the flavoring of the meat. And so then we can go to the markets and we can sell by the individual cut, as well as if you're interested in a quarter, half, or a whole, we can do that as well. We sell year-round. We continually have beef because we provide to a restaurant down in Scottsdale. So we're, a year-round, unlike the vegetables and stuff where they're just seasonal, we are fortunate enough to have it year-round.
So you'd like us to do a year-round farmers market?
That would be perfect, yeah.
I'm going to need more sponsors.
Yeah, we need a lot more sponsors.
Yeah.
That's great. In my wife's side of the family, they are out of Missouri and they do the same thing. And they were actually trying to expand even out of state. And it's one of those things where now you're actually at this point in time in state and you're very welcomed in the state, which is really a neat thing.
Correct.
I mean, you're talking even all the way down in Scottsdale area where you sell your natural beef, and then at Prescott, and then throughout Sedona and here and throughout the area. So that makes it a wonderful business, but it also then provides a niche within our economy as something to where people are very interested in, especially natural products anymore. I think that's great. And so you've enjoyed the farmers market now for 2 years, or actually this will be your second year coming up here. So what what makes Pierre's different, in your opinion, from other beef producers? And I know we just talked about that as the natural aspect of it. And is that your total mission then, or goal as a company? Is to just provide natural beef, or are you planning on doing other things, or is this just primarily it?
Primarily right now, just at the beginning of our business, we're just kind of, again, finding out what the niche is that people are interested in, and that is one of the things that I have, through talking with people, that they really want to know where their beef is coming from, what it's being fed. We don't stress our cattle that they need to gain so much weight in a specific time period. And so by keeping a low stress, helping out the local community, because we also support, you mentioned, we can't go out of state, and so we support a local butcher.
I see.
That's Perkinsville Meat Processing. They're an Arizona Department of Ag inspected facility, and so in order to resell to the public, rules and regulations, we have to follow them. And they're a great family-run business as well, and so it's nice to support the local feed stores and families and stuff. And so in doing that, we want to make sure that we're able to continue to provide that. And rather than us being about quantity, right now we're about quality. And so, we may not always have the exact cut of steak that you're looking for, but within a week or a few weeks we may be able to provide that for you. And so with us, that's really our main goal, is that we want quantity beef, or quality beef, instead of our quantity. And so we really are wanting to fit that for the people that are interested in it and wanting to eat healthier and know where their beef come from.
Great information. Do you have a phone number that people could contact you?
Certainly. Our home phone number, which is area code 928-567-0310.
Right.
You can also find us on Facebook at Pierre's Prime Beef. And then I also have email, and it's ppbeef, so P as in Paul, beef @gmail.com. And if you're interested, you can reach me at any one of those contact information, and I can get you information about how you can find us and purchase some beef.
That's great. That's good news. Thank you for that information.
Sure.
Now, I guess I'm kind of a bit of a novice in all of this, especially as we look at the heat and everything, and the context of heat. How do you keep your beef cool at these events where you're going around Arizona, and especially in the summertime, because that's when all the farmers markets are?
Right. Well, we invested in a little freezer, and I put it in the back of my truck, and I have a generator that constantly keeps the meat at a frozen temperature. And so it's never defrosted, or it's not handled unfrozen, so the person has a chance to get it from me, and then they'll still have time to get it back home to their freezer. Okay. And then once they get home, they can defrost it however they'd like and cook it up on the grill or however they see fit to. So it's one of those things that we've researched it, the best method for us, and so we found that keeping it frozen right there in the freezer is the best method.
It's great.
So, and we sell it by the pound. So
okay, I was just going to ask you about cost. If you can tell us a little bit about cost as it pertains to the various style and cuts of meats or things of that nature. Can you tell us a little bit about that, what those costs are?
Certainly. We have pretty much any cut that you can think of that comes off of a beef. We have very high-end steaks, like your tenderloins and your New Yorks, and they average, on average, about $12 to $15 a pound.
Okay.
And all of our steaks are cut an inch thick. And then we have also sausages, chorizo, Italian sausage, breakfast sausage, ground beef, stew meat, fajita meat, and Are you getting hungry?
Yeah.
I'm gonna just say it. Beef's not for dinner tonight. Beef's for lunch.
Right.
And so basically we have, any cut of steak that you are interested. I've had a couple people request specific cuts, and so with the next time that I butcher, I can set aside some of those specific cuts that they're looking for. But on average, our hamburger runs about $6-7 a pound, and you get 2-pound packages. And so far the feedback from everybody has been great. The steaks are really tender, they say, and the hamburger is about an 80-20 blend. And so it's not too fatty and not too lean that you can't make a good hamburger out of it. But it's a good quality steak, and if you're interested in trying a steak out, come out and try one.
Great news.
It was
I
interesting,
appreciate that.
Richard. The last year that Christy came, I was kind of like, what's the big appeal here? You know what I mean? Is it Kobe beef? Are you massaging it?
Yeah.
But she said, do me a favor, take your beef you buy from the grocery store and compare it to our ground beef. And so my fiance and I, we did this, and we were both shocked. We were like, what the heck? The beef you get from the store doesn't even look real. It looks like a toy.
Right.
And she's like, yeah, that's food coloring.
Yes.
And I was blown away the difference and how the taste is really, it's a great product. So
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
well, good. And I appreciate you being here today to explain this more for all of us, because we're all interested in natural products. I mean, and definitely so. This is kind of where our society's moving. We're going to be taking a break once again. Thank you for joining us today on Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager, and we'll be coming back with Hezekiah Allen here as we close and wrap this up today, a little bit more on the farmers market.
Having a fire escape plan is very important to keep your family safe and together in the event of a fire. When you awake to the sound of a smoke detector and smoke in your room, don't stand straight up. Carefully roll off your bed and stay low under the smoke. If your door is shut, feel the door with the back of your hand. Slowly open the door if no heat is felt. Always stay low until you get to the outside of your home. Always have 2 ways out of your house and a specified meeting place somewhere outside your home. Home escape plans should be drawn up and rehearsed on a regular basis. This could be the difference between life and death if caught in a fire.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm Richard Faust, your host today. It's been an enjoyable time period, especially finding out a little bit more about the natural products out there, especially for beef. And that's one of the things that we're totally interested in as it pertains to no antibiotics, no steroids and things. So, make sure that if you've got the opportunity, contact Pierre's Beef in Rimrock. Try to get hold of them if you're interested in that. And definitely you can come down and find them at the Farmers Market this year. Hez, I think we have some wrap-up questions here as we go through. How many vendors do we normally typically have at the Farmers Market?
Anywhere between 40 and 50 vendors. So it's very important that if you're wanting to come down to the markets, if you're in that arts and crafts section, novelty item, that you're there around 3:30 because it's first come, first serve. For example, if you're driving through and you wonder what that giant line is coming out the street, that's vendors getting ready for the farmers market. So, but if you're not in that section or early enough in the line, you won't get in unless you're a produce or a farmer or Pierre's Beef. Then we make room for them because it's a farmers market and we cater to them first and foremost.
So if I'm a vendor, then who do I get in touch with, and how do I register, and what are the costs?
Yeah, you can call the Parks and Recreation Department at 928-639-3200.
It's on your screen. Yeah.
Chat with the front desk, and they can get you lined up with a registration form, or you can fill it out on site. It's $3 per market if you're a novelty item, and then there's a one-time fee of $5 this year, and that's kind of a business registration special event fee for the city of Cottonwood.
And so if if vendors want to, once they get registered and they sign up and everything, what time is the best time for them to start setting up then?
Around 3:30, and the market starts at 5.
3:30 and then 5 o'clock. So,
yeah. And I think this year we're going to try the bell idea, where we ring a bell at an open sale.
Open cell.
and I know you've talked a little bit about the atmosphere, but give us a little bit more information. I mean, it's really a good atmosphere because people are talking. It's like a kind of a buyer's market in that context also, because they're looking and they're searching for. Tell us a little bit more about that.
It's exciting because Old Town right now is on a boom. It's on a height, and we're all riding this wave, and we're hoping it just continues on for as long as it can go. And with the atmosphere that Old Town provides, and now the farmers market, it comes together, and something that's pretty magical. And I don't want to get cheesy, but it's really neat being down there, like I stated before, having fresh produce, fresh products, arts and crafts, and the community coming together and seeing little kids run around.
Right.
It's pretty neat. I will caution you this year, no dogs allowed in the park. We're going to have puppy park areas that you can park your dog outside the fence,
Okay.
For safety reasons.
Right.
But that's really the only change for this year.
Well, I think as an attachment onto that, and we look at that, what else is there to do? I mean, a lot of people will take advantage of it because they come down to the farmer's market and then they'll go eat, or they'll walk in Old Town. But what else is there for them to do then down there?
They can take the Old Town Jail Trail down to the river.
Okay.
Take your family down that area, see our beautiful riparian area. There's some new restaurants that are opening up in Old Town, and get a chance to stop by there. And then just walk the street, because you never know who you'll talk to, what you'll see, or that will pique your interest, which is exciting. And then if you get a chance, look at the history of Old Town and what it was. Old Town Cottonwood was and an area surrounded by mine-owned community. Cottonwood was not. And it was kind of an oasis for everybody to come to, and it's still that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely is, even today. So I know that parking's changed a bit also, and so give us a little bit of information about, if you plan on attending the market, how will that affect you?
If the individuals haven't had a chance yet to drive by where the market's held, the old maintenance building has been knocked down, leveled, and then also their shed has been moved. They're hoping to get that kind of graded and leveled out so we can expand our parking, because parking has always been tight in the past. And then that's pretty much the only difference so far. But just be cautious when you drive down there. It's going to be a little different than what you're used to in years past.
I understand. And again, there's also additional parking now throughout the northern section of Old Town, with I think behind the Ryan Bakery area, and then also the jail trail area has really been expanded for public parking. So if you wanted to, you can even park down in that direction, because I know that will be finished up probably here in the next couple of weeks. As we move forward, we'll see the blacktopping go in, and that will actually be completed about midway through the farmers market time frame. So you could park down there and you could actually walk up to the farmers market on your way up. So there's a lot of things that you can do. So why doesn't the market go later into the year and run past dark? I mean, I get that question all the time. You do too.
Exactly. Every year, come October, people are like, no, it's just now getting beautiful outside. We made it past monsoon season.
Right.
Really, the truth is it's expensive to have these bands every night. If you don't have the bands, individuals don't show up. There's definitely a growing season in Arizona. We have to kind of stay in tune with that growing season for the market, or there's not going to be produce. We don't have lights at the park, so we can't go past dark. Not only that, but there's a noise ordinance. I think it's around 10 o'clock. So we push that envelope already. But just so that information's out there. It probably won't do anything to help stop the questions. Right. But we tried.
Exactly. And again, as we conclude this segment of Inside Cottonwood, it's been really interesting to hear about what's going on in Cottonwood as we continue to bring that to Inside Cottonwood viewers, and what we're doing in Parks and Recreation, what we're doing with the library upcoming, what's transpiring with transportation. And so we're going to be going through all of that in the months to come. But we'd like to thank you for being with us today and Inside Cottonwood, and like to thank Christy Mulcair as well as Hez Allen and all of their information. So thank you both for being here today. And again, join us at the farmers market throughout this year. It's really a lot of fun. The Jamboree's a lot of fun, and you'll have a great time as you come. So again, thank you for being part of us today. Thank you for joining us with Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host today, Richard Faust, Community Services General Manager for the City of Cottonwood.